Bartlett Economic Development Commission meeting of November 14th, 2022.
I was like, everybody wants me to open the second one.
Tony?
I don't want to run a second.
Yes,
Right, yeah, right.
Chairman Cabasco is calling the meeting to order. So I'm going to take roll call. Jerry Cabasco.
Here.
Kirsten Erickson is not here tonight. Robert Perry.
Here.
Tracy Smedilla.
Here.
Ms. Sarwas on behalf of the chamber.
Here,
Adam Lewinsky. Michelle Hughes.
Here.
And Robert Gorski.
Here.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda would be the approval of the previous meeting minutes from October 10th, excuse me, 2022. Do we have any discussion on the minutes? Or do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do we have-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would you note that I'm abstaining since I was not at that meeting?
as well as I am.
I'm abstaining.
Okay, we'll get that. We'll reflect that in the.
Thank you.
Next agenda item would be public comments. Anybody here want to make a public comment? Doesn't look like it. Okay, we'll move on to the next agenda item would be Small Business Saturday 2022. Tony, you want to take off on that?
Before I do that, I want to take just a minute to recognize Robert Perry. It was pointed out to me earlier not this week, this is Monday, last week, that he's been on the EDC for 10 years. So I want to thank him for his 10 years of showing up here on the second Monday of the month and giving some good ideas and input to help further the development of the town. And we have a small token of his appreciation, which I'll hand him when the meeting concludes. So thank you
Very
to
much,
Robert
Tony.
Perry.
Time goes by when you're having fun.
Right. With that, those of you who've been on for a while have heard me speak about Small Business Saturday quite a few times. Something that not only myself, but our economic development team here at the table, the village as a whole, that we buy into it. I start off by talking a little bit about what we don't have, as you know, which is a lot of big box stores in the town and big shopping malls. What we do have, we've got about 500 or so licensed businesses in the town. As I report usually early every year when we do our economic indicators report, taking a look at our business mix, and really but it would probably be easier to name on your fingers and toes the big national type of businesses that we do have. And for the most part, what Bartlett has is a lot of great mom and pop shops, as we call them, small businesses, businesses that might employ 10, 20, 30 people, like Bark Avenue Day Camp might fit into that category. And a lot of the BETA recipients that we see come before us, like the bakery and some of the restaurants. So Small Business Saturday is the Saturday following Black Friday. And as the name suggests, you all know that it's a day to celebrate, promote, and patronize small businesses. Bartlett's filled with them. We've done a lot of marketing efforts on the village side over the years, including videos and handing out various items. You can see I brought some of the bags here, and yes, the giveaways that they send us are getting fewer and far between every year. Okay, I'm not going to go over all that, but let's just say they used to send a lot more things that you could hand out to small businesses for them to participate with. Anyhow, you all know what Small Business Saturday is here, and for greater detail on what it is that we're doing over here, I'm going to turn it over to my friend and colleague, Joey Dienberg.
Thank you, Tony. So one thing we've really been working on this year is and across the board with everything we're doing, we're trying to incorporate our GIS staff into a lot of the things that we do. Excuse like kind of it's a little crude at the moment. We're still working on the back end, but what we're creating is an app through our website where residents can go and see all the different businesses participating in Small Business Saturday. So basically, we're going to start pushing some things out in the next week or so once we kind of finalize this on the back end. But we've been encouraging our businesses to sign up via email, the different emails we've been sending out. And then, so basically, the business, and this can go, they can sign up the day of Small Business Saturday, and it's going to appear on this portal. So there's not a whole lot of work on our end that needs to be done to approve or anything. So if somebody at the last minute decides, and we're going to be sending out, we're going to schedule some emails to also go out and just kind of remind them. So basically, I'm going to click here. So it looks like this is Arts and Bartlett here. So they enter in their location, and then all of the different deals we're doing. And we included Black Friday because a lot of these businesses too also participate in Black Friday. So to say the different deals they'll have going on and events. So as you can see, there's a few different things going on here with Arts and Bartlett, and then just in our whole downtown, you know, we're starting to get a cluster of them here. There's a few out on other edges of town that are also visible. So this is something that our GIS staff has done a great job of putting this together, making it easy for the businesses to sign up, and then also something the residents can put their hands on and use to see where they can go for small, because I feel like, you know, we notice sometimes people say, oh, you know, there's Small Business Saturday, but where do I go? And this allows them to go to these various businesses around town. And then we also, I know in the past we've produced videos, and there's a little bit of tweaking we can do, and we kind of repurpose some of those as well. So we'll have some videos going out as well, and that's, but this is the big new thing that we've added this year. One other thing that's going to change, we're going to add the Shop Small logo instead of these stars. That's just something our IT staff is working on at the moment, but just something new for the businesses, and we're going to be putting this out in the next week or so.
So Joe, my question on that is when you hover over the stars, which indicate so do you actually have to click on it? Or is it just hovering over it?
They do, yes.
So it'll still have the functionality on a mobile
Correct, yeah, so yeah, when you're on a cell phone,
Right.
click on it. We modeled it after, if anybody's familiar with our village-wide garage sale, we added an interactive map to
remember
that this
that.
year, so we basically took that and replicated it for this.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Track year to year how successful or not these Saturdays go?
You know what? I'm going to report that that's more of on an anecdotal basis, but I'll give you one of our best examples. A business you've seen here twice this year on BETA grants is Banbury Fair, and they've always participated, and we always work closely with them and a lot of the small businesses throughout the downtown and the entire village. They all always say that they experience a pretty good boost in sales that day. It's not just the village, of course. We encourage the businesses to promote it themselves. There's a number of small retailers in one building that's at 138 South Oak. There's a bookstore over there. As you know, there's been a coin shop there for about 50 years. There's a dress shop. They always participate, and the people there every single year have said that that's one of their better sales days of the year.
And
So, I mean, as a village as a whole, we look at sales tax revenues basically month to month. It doesn't give you 100% great accurate reporting because it's collected from the state and it's always lags by a few months. But in terms of the businesses that we're working with on this, they've always been pleased with the results from this.
And we will also be able to see the number of people using this app the day of. We can kind of look at it by time. That's something we did back with the village-wide garage sale, just to see it. You know, we wanted to see if it was worth it, putting the time and effort into bringing it online. So we will absolutely be able to see the number of people logging into this. Anybody who clicks this link the day of will be able to track that and see that as well. So that'll give us a good idea as well.
Any more discussion on the Saturday small business? If not, we can move on to the next agenda item, Marion Bright, 2022.
Thank you. So as everyone knows from last year, we really took last year to really add a whole lot of different things to the tree lighting, as well as our first ever Cocoa Crawl. Starting out with the tree lighting, we didn't stop at what we did last year, so we, you know, through our committee with members from different taxing bodies, the chamber, and a lot of other folks, that we were able to add a few things this year. So we're adding in, there's the bolded items there in the memo, where we're adding up in some fires that people can kind of go warm up by. We added a live reindeer display, so we have some folks coming from Morrisville, Illinois, driving all the way up to bring us some reindeer. There's going to be different food vendors. My Cucina and Hat Trick Barbecue, I believe, is the. Yeah, and a few others. So we have everything that we kind of added in last year, as well as a few more additions. And one of the really cool additions that we added. The whole park is also going to be lit up this year with, so all these different rings represent some arches that'll be over the path to really add some more, a more festive look to the park, and that was all donated by Home Depot, so that was really exciting as well. So there's and we're also going to have some participation from some local businesses that we did last year in terms of Rebecca's Cakes and the Dogfather as well. And then for the Cocoa Crawl, as you can see in the memo, we've had quite a bit of new participants as well. We've received a few more applications too since this memo has gone out. We increased last year we capped the tickets at 250, and it sold out within 3 days. So this year we ordered 500 mugs for them, and then we're also not planning to cap the participation. You know, we were nervous. We didn't want to overwhelm any of the businesses, but after polling them afterwards last year and just asking them how it went, it seemed like people did a good job of spreading out when they got started, so none of the businesses seemed too overwhelmed. So by adding more businesses this year, and we don't think that there's going to be too much of an issue with that. So with that, we'll take any questions on anything going on with Marion Bright.
I had heard that My Cucina and Hat Trick food trucks were going to be out there? Is that
Correct. Yeah, that'll be at the tree lighting event.
the tree lighting?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Is this registration going to stay open till how long for the businesses to get in?
The businesses, it is, we closed it, but it was a soft deadline where there was a few businesses that we noticed had participated in prior years, and we just we're reaching out to them. So other than that, we're, in the next few days, it's going to be closed up. But in all of our emails, we did have the registration ending a while back. So if there is anybody else that wants to participate, you know, we're happy to add them in the next day or so. But we're going to start finalizing things so we can get marketing information out there.
Sorry if I didn't hear, I was looking at something else. But potential lights up there, did you address that? What that means?
Oh, I'm sorry. This was an internal map. I'm not sure if we ended up putting those lights in the, I know the gazebo has been lit up in the past.
We're working with Home Depot to try to enhance the lighting, as Joey said. All those arches, Home Depot's gonna install, and if we have leftover monies, we're gonna light those trees where it says proposed lights.
So what is the holdup, I guess, is my follow-up question. Like, it's nice that Home Depot's participating in this. Why not jump on that back and make it an area that people from other towns might actually come to?
We're hoping we're doing
Yeah.
that. We're adding 4 food trucks. We're having 2 horse.
Not only for the one night, but make it like a lit-up area, you know, it's a nice area. I don't know if you've ever been to like Arlington Heights or somewhere. People actually drive by just to see a little square block like this, that could be another destination if we do it really well. And, I guess that's
I
what.
mean, I think we're gearing toward that. I mean, 2 years ago, the tree lighting consisted of myself, a bag of Oreos, some cocoa, so.
Yeah, no, it's right there.
We're gonna continue to grow, and I think your idea is where we're headed, to be honest with you.
I think my point is, beyond the tree lighting, like a one-night thing, like just something that is consistently there.
Are they staying up through the holiday?
Yeah, something staying up for the holiday, for the random days, people coming through and saying, look, let's go see that Bartlett light thing that's always there, instead of a one-night thing.
Yeah, we're hoping they're gonna be up for a while, not just one night, but the season. But that, as you know, the Bartlett Park is leased by the Park District, so we'll have to confer with them. Yeah, no, I think what you're saying, I think is a really good point.
Yeah, it just seems like if it's being springboarded by Home Depot actually donating, we should throw a bunch of money at it too, or some money, you know, towards us, to attract other people if we have the opportunity to make it.
Yeah, I concur with that. As, you know, as a taxpayer, I think a little intergovernmental discussion on that would be welcomed.
Yeah, we're talking to them a lot. I mean, this event, like I said,
I mean, what else is the Park District going to do with the park, you know? I mean, and, you know, to Adam's point, I mean, it becomes a destination throughout the holiday season, and it's walking distance to the downtown and the restaurants, so.
yeah, I don't think it's one night. They're gonna be up the whole season, is what we've been.
The Park District, I can't remember if it was Halloween, I think it was during the holidays, they had a drive-through light display, and it was free to the community, but it had such a big draw that they actually had to turn people away because it was only open from like 6 to 8 or whatever. But, I mean, it had a huge draw, and it was, you came in by the, you know, pool and went by the Park District.
Yeah,
and out through the
that was
light.
something that actually our village administrator actually kind of was the genesis of that. And that was a partnership between the village and I believe the fire district was there as well. And yeah, so that was the
It was a
that was the
huge
boo
draw.
drive-through,
I
yeah.
mean, we were 3 cars and got shut down, so we didn't go through it, but we sat in line for like an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the point is you overdo it. Maybe people will say, hey, let's go bowling, or let's
Right.
see what else is going on out there. you
Right.
know?
If they're already, you're drawing them into the town, then you have the opportunity to keep them here.
Right. Yeah. And if one family comes,
Right.
they'll tell somebody else who'll
Yeah.
come down and
Yep.
say,
Yeah.
yeah.
We go to Elburn, so, you know,
I mean,
I'm telling you, it's not, people are looking for places, to
Right.
go look at lights. It's crazy.
We guesstimated, I mean, for the last 10 years, we had about 70 people or so come to this event. Last year, we guesstimated over 2,000. So we are, I mean, that's what we're gearing toward, and, you know, we're slowly growing it. That way we can add on and continue to add on. And of course, there are years, we have had years where it's been 10 degrees. So there's a little bit of risk, and we're just trying to slowly grow it, yeah.
I guess that,
Pretty exciting. I mean, we anticipate thousands of people once again, yeah.
again, I just want to reiterate, you're talking one night. I think we're talking go overboard with a display that gets a steady stream of people throughout the whole season.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, legitimately, you think about that. I mean, is Home Depot doing the installation of the arches? They are. And are they going to get any kind of recognition for their, I almost think it's a no-brainer. I mean, especially from when you look at the, you know, their investment, I think their return on that would be significantly greater if they allowed
They
them to
actually,
go through the
when
season.
I've been talking to Home Depot for the last few months to try to facilitate this, and we're gonna put signage and thank them through our social media, but they've been pretty explicit that they're not seeking any credit and they don't want any. They just want to do it, but nonetheless, we're gonna have signage at each entry point. I think there's 4 or 5 entry points that's gonna be thanking Home Depot quite a bit. And we'll be making sure that they're thanked in our social media profusely as well.
Yeah, certainly, but again, again, you know, what what Commissioner Hughes and Commissioner Lewinsky said, I think that working with them and well, specifically the Park District to consider this staying open through the season, I think is a huge, huge win, especially for those downtown businesses. I mean, I'd be very compelled to come and park on there, especially since you've got homes on North Avenue. They have phenomenal Christmas displays. I mean, that becomes a destination in itself. And then when you walk, you know, a block south.
Yeah, they won't be coming down the next day, no. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah, so it sounds like the events might be one night, but the lights.
Right, no,
the
no, we
lights are up
completely
and
understand that, but the
arches,
lighting
so
of
That's
it.
cool.
Well, good job. I think this is exciting. And I appreciate the continuum of not just the event itself, but, you know, building upon it, which I think is terrific. We'll be on a Hallmark movie before we know it.
And last year, we did even have an engagement, right, under the gazebo when the mayor flipped the light, so it did add a little bit to that Hallmark movie.
And there's going to be a marketing video that's going to be coming out soon that we're working on. There's going to be princesses that are there that are going to be doing a song, a little mini concert, if you will, the Disney princesses. We're involving South Elgin Choir. We have Bartlett High School Choir. Arts in Bartlett is involved. The Little Church of Bartlett down the street is involved. And then we're also going to have a DJ that's going to help facilitate the event. And, of course, Rebecca's is going to be there. And we're going to have one of the, I don't want to say complaints, but one of the comments last year was it was hard to hear the gazebo when folks were throughout the park. We enhanced electricity in the park, so we'll have wireless speakers throughout the park during that time. And one of the holiday cars, if you were there, you recall, we're going from 4 to 10. And then one of the other things we had last year, and again, it was our first crack at enhancing it, so you live and learn, were the lines for the horses. And a lot of people stood in line all night waiting and weren't able to participate in some of the other activities. So we'll have tickets with designated times. So when folks get there, they'll be able to check in probably with Joy or myself, and be able to get a ticket with a designated time on it for the horses. That way they're able to enjoy Santa or the food tents, or Starbucks will be there, and all the other amenities. So given the fact that it's year 2, we're going to be a little more organized, and we're excited about folks being able to enjoy all the events as opposed to just kind of standing in line like they did last year.
This may not be quite appropriate for this setting, but in a similar vein, I took the family last year to Mooseheart, and we did the drive-through of their whole park and whatnot. And at the very end, they just had a couple of people out there, and it was just a free will offering. No requirement to pay or anything like that. I'm throwing that out there. Again, I'm not sure if that's quite appropriate for this setting to have a free will offering, but maybe that can evolve into, like, money's going to go to a charity or something. Yeah, I don't know. But I just thought I'd put it out there.
Everything's considered, yeah.
Oh, it was a good discussion about the upcoming event. Moving on to the next item would be new business. Tony, you want to share anything you know with the commissioners?
Yes, I put some copies of a press release up there, but wanted to at least mention, if you haven't seen it, we had a groundbreaking last week for a building in the Cook County portion of Brewster Creek Business Park. Once again, for those who are newer to the EDC, and some have been on for many years listening to me talk about Brewster Creek Business Park, including a Brewster Creek Business Park owner who I met with when she opened her business, she tells me 15 years ago now. So as the business park continues building out, we're coming up on the end of the TIF, actually, and we have our TIF Joint Review Board this Thursday. And so after this meeting, I'll be delving deep into TIF and industrial real estate, which I spend quite a bit of my time on. And this groundbreaking was for our third building in the Cook County portion of Brewster Creek Business Park. Again, without a long story, let's just say that property taxes on commercial, industrial, and office are far higher in Cook County than surrounding counties, sometimes 2 or 3 times higher per square foot. So there's a Cook County classification tax incentive called a Class 6B. As a matter of fact, there's another one on the village board agenda tomorrow night for a Class 6B. We now have, I believe, this particular building that I'm referencing was, I think, the fifth one that the village granted that tax incentive to. And it's for a 400,000 square foot speculative building. And the price of it, a lot of times the businesses don't always want to get too much sometimes into the dollars and cents of their projects, but this is a $36 million project. They have to disclose that on their application. So the land they purchased was about, give or take, 5, and the building itself is going to run 31 million. So the reason I want to bring this up is because over the years, Brewster Creek Business Park kind of started off as kind of a small manufacturing business condos like the one Ms. Sarwas owns, and kind of individual businesses that would come in and do a build to suit. They would build a building that meets their exact needs. Probably about 7 or 8, 9 years ago, some institutional money started coming in as the industry pulled out of the recession. Industrial real estate has not slowed, I should add. I could talk here every month about industrial expansion in Bartlett. So this building, as you might have guessed, is another institutional investor. They're called Midwest Industrial Funds. Even though they have this huge project in Bartlett, they have about 8 others going that are similar in scope and size and cost. They like Bartlett. We worked very well with them on this. They got their building approved quickly. They got their Class 6B through, and they like the village, and they're going to build another building in Brewster Creek Business Park besides this, 207,000 square foot spec building in one of the last sites in the DuPage County portion. So I mention this because Brewster Creek Business Park is built on a TIF. The TIF was adopted in 1999. TIFs always run for 23 years unless they're shortened, or sometimes they're lengthened by 12 years. This one is closing later this year, but revenues will still be collected by the TIF fund next year. Because as you all know, typically you pay real estate taxes 1 year after you pay your 2022 taxes next year. So that's another big project. It's going to round out, close to round out our business park. There's still some, I was told about 6 or 7 infill sites left in the DuPage portion, but this is the last major behemoth-sized building in the Cook County portion. The third spec building, 400,000 square feet. The first one I talked about here years ago because we worked on the project for 2 years, and it turned out it was McKesson. The second building of that size was built a year ago on a speculative basis by another institutional developer, and that one has since leased the entire building to Colony Display Company. And this particular new building that just broke ground last week, that is just some grading being done and stuff like that, already has a real good prospect to take the whole building, or at least somebody who wants to, I could say. But, we'll be talking here in a meeting, let's say 6 or 7, 8 months from now, talking about who's coming into that building. The developers have a high level of confidence in our market and our village as a location, and that type of, it's a Class A building too, I might add. We have some Class B and Class C buildings, what they grade them throughout the business park. This one's a 400,000 square foot Class A building. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you how many docks it has, but it's a lot. I can't remember if it's 40 or if it's 50 or something. It's a large number of docks. And
About 80.
you'll start seeing it. Is that what it says on it?
Yeah, about 80 docks.
80 docks, there you have it. So it's going to be definitely continuing the trend that we always say here of last mile facilities where you can go on your phone during the meeting while I'm talking and order something, and then probably tomorrow and early in the day it'll be delivered, and all those items are stored in facilities in buildings similar to this one. So that's just something I wanted to point out. We have other projects going on, but that's one that I wanted to point out is pretty notable when a developer comes in and is willing to invest that much capital into a speculative project. It really shows a great deal of confidence and faith in your area.
Do we have any idea how many jobs that building is going to create?
Well, there's the rub. When they put in their Class 6B application, they don't yet have a user, but interestingly enough, buildings of that size probably have less employees than a much smaller building like Wittenstein or Herman Ultrasonics, or one of the food companies like Greco or Rana or Get Fresh. Get Fresh Produce might have a building a third of that size, but might have 300 or 400 employees. These buildings are projected to have typically 75 to 100, and they have more robot employees than that probably. But those tend to be logistics buildings, but it could be anything. It's just it's built as a warehouse and distribution center, but that doesn't mean, these buildings are built to be there for decades, 40, 50, 60 years. So there will probably be multiple companies in there over the years, and we generally hope that they have as many employees as possible. The application for 6B estimated from 75 to 200.
Assuming this was probably taken into consideration at some point, but with 80 docks, does that mean we can expect 80 more trucks going through back there?
It's possible, except that, again, depending on what the company is. If it's totally a logistics company,
Yeah.
purely logistics, then the answer is probably yes. If it's a single tenant user, then it's probably going to be a small fraction of that. And it's just too hard to speculate because even some single, let's say a company like McKesson that's a single user but takes the whole building, but they're so prolific in distribution that they have a lot of they have more vehicles. Greco, of course, you can barely drive anywhere in the Chicago area without seeing Greco trucks coming and going. But there's some other businesses we've met with that are comparable in size to that have as few as 8 to 10 per day. But seeing as how many docks there are, it's probably going to be pretty logistics heavy.
I just hope that they are good neighbors, because I know that we have those signs posted over there by Villa that says no truck, but I think I have on my phone a picture of a McKesson truck waiting to turn to go down that street. So I don't live over there, but I know it's a point of contention for the neighbors that do live that way, so.
Yes, it is, yeah, well put. It's a point of contention, and although not, again, in my exact purview, but I know there's been a lot of work done on the village level among police and various departments to reroute trucks on mapping
Yeah.
applications and to do enhanced signage and, you know, to have some more enforcement going on in that area.
Yeah.
So it's something the village is always cognizant of, the traffic impact.
Well, and you would hope that as the neighbors of the village, that they would uphold the signage and we wouldn't have to put in the extra policing of it. I mean,
Yeah.
the sign was clear as day as I was sitting there at the light, and so it had to be clear as day to that person.
Yeah, it's almost such a broader discussion about the trucking industry
Yeah.
in general. As soon as one person adopts it, then there's a new trucker the
Slippery
next
slope,
week.
yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a plus and a minus, I always say, when
Yeah.
it comes to our business park. We've been growing it for 20 years, and everybody likes the new investment and the new employees in the village, in the business park. It really, every year at the TIF meeting, I say it's the economic engine of the village. But as Scott will tell you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is a county road, but we continue to work with them to try to help those folks, because you're right, it's getting rough over there.
Yeah.
We do, based on the traffic studies, over the last couple of years, we are hopeful that, I mean, it's gonna get worse before it gets better with West Bartlett and 59 starting construction in the spring. It's gonna get a lot worse, unfortunately. However, the studies do indicate that once that intersection is fixed with dual lefts from all angles, that is going to help those folks over there. So we're excited to see that intersection improved.
Yeah, it's hard to overstate how successful the business park has been in terms of growing the economy. And when I look at the equalized assessed value of it for the TIF reports, it's unbelievable. I mean, the whole area was only worth $2 million EAV in 1999. And it's well over 100 million now, and just going up and up and up. When the TIF ends, those property tax payment dollars are just like your homes or anybody else's. They just start going into all the various taxing bodies. So they're all chomping at the bit for the TIF to end. I'm just going to say, so for traffic, it's kind of a double-edged sword. There was, originally, that was just a big empty quarry with no traffic. And now there's thousands of trucks and vehicles per day going in and out of there. Yeah. But we're not at the end of development of the business park, but we're pretty far along. We're in the 80s percentage-wise, maybe even close to 90.
We don't have any more discussion about new business, so,
Can I, just one question about a development that had started just south of Hanover Township. Do we know what that is? I'm sorry?
I think it's the township.
They're,
They
I
bought.
think they're building a garage. We haven't been too involved in that, but it's going to house some of their vehicles.
Okay.
They're relocating it from the
Yeah.
fire barn out that way.
Yeah, I think that's their plan, yeah.
Okay. I just, caught me by surprise driving by there, and I didn't.
Yeah, we've had a few inquiries come to our department about it as well, so that's what it is.
All right.
A new vehicle storage facility.
I just have one question, and I'm thinking about this TIF expiring and obviously the benefit to some of the taxing bodies. Is there any, any document or any kind of study that's been done on the overall impact to taxing bodies and how, once the TIF expires, how they're going to benefit moving forward?
They all do their own analysis
Okay.
for that.
Do they provide that to the village by any chance?
They don't, they're not obligated to.
Okay.
It's not something we ask for. Like I said, we're obligated by state law to hold a joint review board every year, and we're having one this week. And that's when we I sit here again and we go over a lot of the financials and the development within the TIFs. So I can assure you that's the number one, really, it's about the only question the other taxing districts have, is about the conclusion of the TIF. They all have their own finance people who come up with estimates and projections of what the EAV is going to be. And they're able to do that actually pretty easily, because that's something we report every year. It comes from a county office called the Tax Extension Office. And they go ahead and they calculate what all the properties together are valued at. So that's a big thing that they're planning for, the conclusion of the Brewster Creek TIF.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next agenda item, adjournment. Do we have a motion?
So moved?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.